Michelle here, and in this video I'm going to be going over the history of Mammal Camp, my animated series that is not yet an animated series, but that I hope will one day be a cartoon show. I have been working on this since 2007 when I was 13 years old, and it has been my #1 dream since then to make this an animated series. So I'm gonna start from the very beginning. If you want to see me draw these characters though, I have a speed paint that I uploaded at the same exact time that I uploaded this one, and so that you can see visually what these characters look like right now, because I'm going to be going over some very old art from the very beginning to some recent art and everything in between to show you the progress and the history and everything that led up to what I'm doing now. Right now what I'm doing is designing the characters, creating their backstories, creating the story, world building, the environment, writing the plot, writing episodes, just writing and building the entire world and the franchise as it is, so that when I have a team to come to me to help me work on it, I already have all of the creative process created and mentally done to then apply to these things to get it out there for you guys. Which again, it might be years, might be 10 years, I don't know. It just depends on when God wants this to happen. So in the meantime, I figured I'd put some of these things out for you guys and tell you more about it so you can get excited with me. So 2007, I was 13 years old. It was the year that I decided that I wanted to make cartoon shows and be an animator, a cartoonist, somebody who just makes the cartoons. The creator, like Butch Hartman being the creator of Danny Phantom, Fairly Odd Parents, Rebecca Sugar being the creator of Steven Universe, Alex Hirsch being the creator of Gravity Falls. Obviously they have a team behind them, but those were the people that came up with the idea and had the heart behind it that drove these people who agreed to work on it with them to make it. That's what I want to do. I want to create cartoons. 13 years old, I decided that I wanted to be a creator of cartoons and make them and animate them and put them out there and tell stories and make people feel as loved as they possibly could from these stories and these characters. So I drew up these guys. These were the very first pictures of these characters that I ever made. All the way back in 2007, I made them in the order of Hammy, Twitchy, Rocky, and Bunny, and actually the name Mammal Camp came after I made the characters. I didn't even know what the characters were going to be for. I was just making things, and my father is a very creative guy. As soon as he sees anything being made, his brain instantly thinks, well, this could be a website, it could be a game, it could be this, it could be that, we could take this and expand it. And all I had were these drawings of these characters. My dad was like, let's make a website, let's make it into something. And I was like, so in over my head, but I was like, okay, cool, let's make it. So mammalcamp.com became a thing. We had a chat room. I started expanding the story as much as I could at 13, and it started this thing in me where, even though mammalcamp.com, we still own it, but it's not up, it's not a thing anymore, it started this idea of expanding this world and making these characters into something bigger than just these drawings that I had. I didn't know what to call this franchise, I didn't know what to do with it. I just knew that they were animals, and I was like, Dad, what are we gonna call this though? And he says, what about Mammal Camp? And I was like, that sounds cool. I had no idea that a mammal camp is an actual thing. It's not like a camp. I guess it's like where animals go to like recover from things. I think that's what it is. So when my dad said Mammal Camp, I thought camp for animals. And that's how the story of Camp Happy, the largest summer mammal camp in the world, Camp Happy, where mammal campers Camp Happy. That didn't exist until my dad said the words Mammal Camp, and then it just grew from there. The way the characters look was actually designed from Lilo and Stitch, actually. I looked at Stitch and I was like, oh my gosh, he's so stubby, he's so cute, he's got these giant eyes. I want to make characters like that, where people will look at them and go, oh my gosh, that's so cute, I want it, I want to cuddle them. So I started expanding off of that. I started with the circle of the face, the giant eyes, and they looked very similar to this. This is a recreation because I don't have any of the original drawings. And from there, I just kept drawing them and drawing them and drawing them. And the character design in and of itself kind of just started to evolve from that to what they are now, just naturally. It's just, as I drew them more, my hand would fall into this, you know, repetitive thing, and it would settle into what it is. And I feel like that's part of character design that people don't really talk about a lot, is you can draw something and you'll have this design, but the more you draw it, the more it'll settle into what it is. So when you first design it, that doesn't mean that that is what it's going to look like. It might look very similar, but it kind of just has a way of settling into its own thing after a while, and that becomes what it is. So these characters, the way they are very much finished. They are the way that they are, and they're not gonna change. That's why they are the way they are. It all started from Stitch, and the premise of the whole thing being Mammal Camp started from my father, so without him, this would have never become anything. Really, the fact that this exists, I pretty much owe to my father for just being such a creative guy and just taking things farther than they probably need to go at the time. It still made something and started to grow something that has turned it into what it is now and what it has the potential to be in the future. It's all because of him. So, thank you, Dad. Awkward. Anyway, moving on. Around this time that I was talking about, when I started to develop their final look, this is when I started developing their personalities and really getting into who they are individually. So Twitchy became the loud one, Rocky became the grumpy, stubborn one, and Hammy became the nerdy, polite leader. It was after that that I started to really think about the other characters in the staff. So I made this one character, the first staff member ever, and his name is Ted E. Bear. He is the forest ranger and camp security. He doubles as both. When I made Ted, it was for the purpose of somebody to keep these kids in line, so that when they were running around doing all these other things, breaking rules, going to the forest that they weren't supposed to go into, there was this guy that always brought them back and was like, hey, this is not okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing, and this other stuff that you're doing is not, it's not cool, it's kind of dangerous. He's the firm kind of guy that's really into like setting them in their place and making sure the rules are enforced, because he just really cares about their safety. The next character that I made after that was Hank the Hippo. The boys call him Henry, they call Ted Teddy. They like to add the E sound at the end of everybody because all four of them have it, and it's just kind of like a thing where they give somebody a nickname that just has an E sound at the end of it. So Hank the Hippo, he is one of the camp counselors. He specifically spends a lot of time around these four, so he'll be the one that will take them on their camp activities, and he's the one that he's not very perceptive, so while he's taking them to do their activities, that's when they will kind of branch off and sneak away into the forest that is forbidden, that they're not supposed to be in. And he just never caught them. He was just always telling some story, talking about something, and just never saw them. He's a very happy guy. He's one of those characters that you would feel would be very annoying. They're very uppity and happy, and they talk like this, and they're really, really, really out there. He's like that. Another camp counselor is actually a camp counselor in training. She's about 15 or 16 years old. Her name is Mally Meerkat. She's a redhead, and she was somewhat based on Kim Possible. Kim Possible were a little more nerdy, and she worked at camp. That would be her. As I said, she is a counselor in training, but she does her job so well that they kind of just let her do what all the other adults are doing. So she doesn't really have any restrictions as far as her title, even though she's not officially a camp counselor, she is in training. Rocky also has a bit of a crush on her. He likes to flirt. He's very, very, very overconfident and very full of himself, which is why he's very stubborn and wants to do things his own way, so that translates into a douchey kind of full of himself, arrogant confidence. But it is confidence, it is. Okay, so anybody's wondering, These main four are between the ages of like 10 and 13. The next character that I made is Lisa Llama, who is the nurse, and that's pretty much all it stopped at, is that she's the one that the boys go to after they're done in their forest and they like scrape their elbow or something. Some of these other characters include Andy Anteater, which is the maintenance assistant, he's around 16-ish, lifeguard Brody Beaver, camp director Mr. Koala, he's very mysterious, he doesn't show up a lot, the head of sports guy is Timothy Tiger, and then the cook is Patty Cow, and the bus driver, who hardly ever shows up, is Rudy Rover. Other campers include Tucker and Tina Tiger, Blazer Gray, which is Twitchy's cousin, who's a gray squirrel. There's Paula Panda, Katie Kitty, Chica Chihuahua, and more. There's also family members of characters. Like I said, Twitchy has his cousin, Blazer Gray. He also has an older brother who is 7 years older than him, and his cousin, whose name is Springer Squirrel. Rocky also has a younger sister named Ruby Raccoon. Timothy Tiger, the coach, and Tucker and Tina Tiger are all a family. It's him and his children, they're there, they go to camp where he works, because I'm pretty sure they get in for free or something because he works there. I don't know how that works. Hammy, like I said, his parents are not able to have any more children after Hammy. I'm not entirely sure what happened, but as far as we know at this point, Hammy's mom is just not able to have any more kids, so Hammy's always had this kind of lingering yearning for the need to be a older brother, and so that's why he kind of puts that on to Twitchy and takes on Twitchy as a sort of a younger brother. He's also had a ton of bullies, which is what makes him so intelligent. He's studied so many things to use knowledge to overcome, you know, all of these hardships that he's had. He's learned pressure points and like ways to outwit bullies because he's not physically strong. Twitchy and his brother Springer and their cousin Blazer Gray, they were all raised together by their father, who is a single father who works constantly to try and take care of the three of them. So Springer, being the oldest, had kind of raised Twitchy and Blazer. The reason why Twitchy and Blazer are at camp this summer is because Springer is going off to college soon, and so he's taking that summer to really focus on himself and really prepare to go to college. Rocky, on the other hand, was raised by his father, who was very, very strict. He was taught a very large amount of traditional manly roles where it's like men don't cry, boys have to be men, boys have to be tough and all that, which is what made Rocky so rough on the outside. The school said that it would be better for him to go to this camp to sort of reform him. So this is actually Rocky's second year. He was at Camp Happy the previous year before the rest of them showed up and was held back a year in school. So he's 1 year older than the rest of them. Bunny, on the other hand, we do not know why he's there. We don't know anything about his backstory nor his parents, why he's smiling, why he's mute. He's just there. Big ball of mystery. So they all have their family lives, things that they've come from that are very real and very difficult, that make their friendship so important, that make their time at this camp growing with each other so incredibly important. And the reason why I did that is because I want to show people that no matter what your story is, no matter what your family is like, you can still be loved, you can still be happy, there are still ways to overcome everything. So as far as Mammal Camp as a series, the four of these guys being friends is the base of everything. Yeah, there's a conspiracy surrounding the camp and the forest. The staff is mysterious as well. They've all got their personalities, their things that come together to make it so colorful and diverse, and yet it's so relationship based on friends and family and how to interact with each other as people, because that is the most important thing in the world, that I believe, is how we interact with each other, how we love each other affects everything. So I want this to be a show that comes on, that everybody has a chance to see, that everybody, no matter who you are, will see something interesting in this. I just want to make something that makes people feel loved, and that will help spread more love. Excuse my cat. I think I've been talking way too much, so if you have questions about any of these things, any plot, any of the character backstories, anything at all, then make sure to leave them in the comments because I'm more than happy to discuss this with you guys. Again, if you have been to a summer camp, if you know anybody who has been to a summer camp or who has worked at a summer camp, if you know animators, artists, voice actors, writers, storyboarders, anybody who could possibly help, programmers, musicians, for the score maybe, anybody at all who could possibly help me with research or help me with the production of any of these things, please send them to my email at mosthighmammal@gmail.com. That is mosthighmammal@gmail.com, because I don't want this to take years to do. Once again, that is mosthighmammal@gmail.com. Any information or anybody that is willing to pitch in really helps. At this current time of uploading this, I have another video that is a speed paint of this picture here if you guys want to see how this was made. I talk a lot about other things involving Mammal Camp, a lot of the same things, but a lot of other things as well. And I also have this live stream which came even before that, where I was working on this and you guys were really interested, asking a lot of questions that I answered. So if you're interested in learning more about this, I suggest watching both of those. So if you have any questions, anything at all, comment them down below. I'd love to have a conversation with you guys. I hope you found this interesting, and if you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up so I know you did. And if you're wondering what I'm doing in between videos, you can follow me on Twitter, that is where I'm the most active, but I have a list of other social media down in the description below. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye!